the Golden State Warriors are zeroing in on two intriguing first-round prospects, one of whom is already drawing comparisons to none other than Draymond Green. With the draft fast approaching, GSW's front office is locked in on reshaping the future, and these two names could be game changers. Meanwhile, the San Antonio Spurs are making bold moves of their own, stacking talent and gearing up to become the NBA's next unstoppable powerhouse. Could these rising stars shift the entire balance of power in the league? What's the Warriors' plan with their core aging, and can the Spurs rise faster than expected? Don't blink, this draft could alter the NBA landscape in ways no one's ready for. Things are getting real interesting in the Bay Area. After a rough exit from playoff contention, the Golden State Warriors are at a serious crossroads. Steph Curry's still performing at an elite level, but the clock is ticking. And now, all eyes are on the front office, not just to bring in big-name free agents or explore blockbuster trades, but to hit on something they haven't needed to prioritize in years: the NBA draft. Reports are swirling that Golden State is zeroing in on two first-round prospects. But what makes this so intriguing isn't just that they're drafting again, it's who they're targeting. One of these prospects is already drawing comparisons to a young Draymond Green. That's right, the heart and soul of the Warriors dynasty. Not a flashy scorer, not a highlight machine, but a cerebral, high IQ, switch-everything defender who could, if things break right, carry the spirit of Draymond into the next generation of Golden State basketball. Now let's be clear, nobody's replacing Draymond Green. That's not even the goal. But in a league that's becoming more positionless, where defensive versatility and basketball IQ are more valuable than ever, players in the Draymond mold are suddenly in high demand. Remember, back in 2012, Draymond was a second-round pick. Teams didn't really know how to value a guy who didn't fit neatly into the box of wing or forward or center. But now that same profile is golden. And it's not just the Warriors who are leaning into this kind of player. Down in San Antonio, the Spurs are quietly building something scary. They've got Victor Wembanyama, the most hyped prospect since LeBron James, and now they're stacking picks, grabbing versatile defenders, and loading up on length, switchability, and basketball IQ. Sound familiar? It should. That's exactly the blueprint that led to the Warriors dynasty in the first place. But let's zoom in on Golden State first. What's happening here is way bigger than just one pick. The Warriors have spent the better part of a decade operating like a veteran win-now team, and rightfully so. They had the championship core, the rings, the chemistry. They tried to mix youth with experience. Remember the whole two-timeline experiment with Wiseman, Kuminga, Moody, and Poole? Some of that worked, some of it didn't. But now, they're pivoting. Insiders are reporting that Golden State has brought in multiple prospects for private workouts, two in particular standing out. One of them, who remains unnamed for now due to pre-draft confidentiality, is already turning heads for his defensive awareness, wingspan, and floor vision. Scouts say he's got a rare feel for the game. He communicates on defense, rotates instinctively, and has the kind of court mapping that veteran players spend years trying to develop. One scout even said, "You watch him for 5 minutes and you just know he's not reacting to the game, he's controlling it." That's a serious statement when we're talking about a rookie. Another comp thrown around, Grant Williams. And yeah, that might not sound like the sexiest comparison at first, but here's the thing: Grant Williams was a huge part of Boston's defensive success when they made their run to the finals. He's strong, undersized, smart, and unafraid to take on bigger matchups. Sound familiar? A user on Reddit nailed it. Grant Williams makes up for it on defense with strength and smart positioning. Players in the Draymond mold are being looked at more favorably now than in 2012. That's the shift. The league has evolved, and players who once slipped through the cracks because they didn't score 25 a night are now being scouted as potential defensive anchors, glue guys, and leaders. Now, we don't know exactly who the Warriors will pick yet, but here are some names that match that profile. Think about guys like Ryan Dunn from Virginia, a long, tough, gritty defender who thrives in transition. Or maybe someone like Tristan de Silva out of Colorado, who brings a combination of size, versatility, and passing feel. These aren't names that scream future all-star on draft night, but neither did Draymond Green. And if you remember, Draymond made an immediate impact not through stats, but through voice, vision, and defense. Golden State knows what kind of player fits their system. They don't need another ISO-heavy scorer. They need someone who can guard 1 through 5, keep the ball moving, and bring the kind of edge that has defined Warriors basketball for over a decade. And if they hit on that pick, you're looking at the spiritual successor to Draymond. Not a copy, not a clone, but someone who can fill the gap that will inevitably open when Draymond either retires or takes a back seat. But the story doesn't end there. Because while Golden State is trying to reload around Steph, Klay, and Draymond one last time, or maybe set the foundation for what comes next, San Antonio is playing a long game. And it's a terrifying one if you're a rival fan. Victor Wembanyama has already shown flashes of being the most dominant two-way force we've seen since Tim Duncan. And what are the Spurs doing? They're not rushing it. They're being patient. They're using their draft capital wisely. They've got 2 first-rounders this year, and they're prioritizing players who complement Wemby not just on paper, but in playing style and basketball philosophy. Reports suggest San Antonio is heavily invested in scouting versatile bigs and wing defenders who can switch, protect the rim, and stretch the floor. Basically, they're looking for their own version of Draymond Green, a player who can serve as the connective tissue between raw talent and championship cohesion. And that's no accident. If you look at how the Warriors built their dynasty, it wasn't just about shooting or star power, it was about having guys who could think the game on a different level. Draymond was never the leading scorer. But he was always the loudest voice on defense, the smartest passer, the most disruptive presence on the floor. The Spurs want that. Every contender does. Imagine a future where Wemby is surrounded by 3 or 4 switchable defenders, all 6'6" to 6'10", who can rotate, close out, trap, recover, and shoot threes. That's not just a playoff team, that's a title contender. And if they draft well this year, they're going to take a massive leap forward. So what does this mean for the rest of the league? It means we could be entering a new era of basketball, one where the old school glue guy becomes the new cornerstone. Where the next generation of dynasties isn't built on individual scoring, but on collective IQ, defensive intensity, and on-court communication. It's less about who's your number one guy and more about how smart and switchable are your role players. Golden State's dynasty was built on that foundation. Steph was the engine, Klay the shooter, KD the superstar reinforcement. But Draymond? He was the culture. He was the guy yelling on defense, calling out switches, telling people where to stand on offense. He made things work. And the Warriors are clearly trying to replicate that without reinventing the wheel.